Hi guys, Jerry coming to you today from the Rhythmia Life Advancement Center in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. I have a little bit of a cold, so forgive me if I'm coughing. What is Rhythmia? Rhythmia is a life advancement center that incorporates a bunch of different modalities, uh, 4 days, excuse me, 4 days of ayahuasca, uh, multiple metaphysical teaching classes, uh, the cleanse, uh, breath work, meditation, yoga, farm to table organic food, which brings about this amazing change in people's lives. How do I know? Well, over 17,000, closer to 18,000 people have been through our doors. And 98.85% say they had a life-changing miracle during their stay. The better part, at 6 months, 90.22% say that this was the week that changed their lives. Their lives are forever changed. Because of these things, who comes here? Well, we get people from all walks of life. On our board of directors, we have Jack Canfield, author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, the Chicken Soup series. We have Kelly Slater, the greatest surfer of all time. We have Ron White, the comedian. We have Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. We have Earl Koski, the businessman. Brandy Sabella, the business person. Tony Coe, the founder of NYX Cosmetics. We have Michael Bernard Beckwith, Frank Biden, and Martin Luther King's son, Martin, have all been here, experienced this thing, and said, I want to be a part of it. We get people from all walks of life. We get a lot of professional athletes that I can't mention. We get some that I can, many that we can't. We got a ton of actors, actresses, musicians, people in the entertainment space, business people, and then folks just like you and I, regular people that come here and have this amazing change. You want to check it out? Go to the TripAdvisor, over 2,700 TripAdvisor reviews. About 99% are 5-star reviews, which is unheard of. Okay. Last week, Janla Van Zant was here, and every week there's something different that comes here from the spiritual community or entertainment, and we just have this amazing time. And I get to see these people every year, and it actually does change their life. Now, one thing that happens right after that is, in the overwhelming vast majority of cases, when people have a soul merger at Rhythmia, they immediately, within the next 14 days, decide that they want to become a beneficial presence on the planet. And how they do that becomes the ceremony of life for them. So the things we've learned about this is there are a million ways to become a beneficial presence, right? I had folks here that were arms dealers that gave up dealing arms. And I have investment bankers that say they want to be the best, kindest investment banker in the world. And da-da-da-da. So you can do it in your family structure, mother, father, sister, brother. You can do it as a church or a community or a neighborhood. You can do it as a healer, because almost everybody who comes here is a healer, right? Because their soul was called to bring this thing out. How do you heal? You can heal through food, touch, arts, music. There's a million ways. So don't look at, you can do it by owning a plumbing company. There's a million ways to do this when the intention is right. So one thing leads to another, and your soul takes over this mission. So what do I mean by that? So when our ego's taken over the mission, we're doing things because we want to look a particular way or impress a group of people or please a family member or please a certain group of people. And those are all the neighbors. Those are all the wrong reasons. But when we do it from a soul-centered place, a merged place, it really has the truth of our soul. So the way we were designed to imprint on this life and our soul's mission we become aware of it. And now we're working in partnership with our soul to become this thing where we are a beneficial presence. Now, to be a beneficial presence usually needs mastery. And mastery can take a whole long time. And by a long time, I mean, in most cases, it's a 10-year overnight success story to become a master at something. I mean, when you see Kelly Slater surf, or you hear Michael Beckwith do a sermon, or you read a book where Jack Canfield was involved in, or you watch a comedy routine from Ron White, those are things that did not happen overnight. Those are things that happened over a very long period of time where they've gained mastery. Now, when we're doing it from a particular place, when we want to build restaurants that heal or whatever it is we're doing, we know that it's going to take about 10 years. Here's the characteristics that we know and why we want to hang on to these things. We know it's going to take 10 years or more. We know that it's going to be the hardest thing we've ever done. We know that the bigger it is, the harder it's going to be. We know that it's going to yield more than we could ever imagine. It's going to yield more than what we are imagining. So it's going to be the greatest payday in all ways. And I'm not talking about money, although money is a part of that payday. I'm talking about what it's going to feed to our soul, how it's going to make us feel content instead of needy, how it's going to make us feel complete instead of partial. That's the beauty. I hate to use the term, my falcon is knocking on the window right now. I have a falcon. That journey, right? That thing is going to be harder than anything we've ever done, but in its magnitude is going to dictate how hard it is, right? But when we're doing it, we are out of our old life and into our new life. We will switch out of our old life and into our new life. That's why 90.22% of all the people who've gone through the door say that this was the week that changed their life. So what I mean by that is that you come through here and you see yourself as one thing going in one direction, and that changes into a new you in a new direction, and that is the ceremony. So everything in life that you see once you do plant medicine is the little represents the big. So a cell is alive and it represents the body, and our body represents a part of a greater body, and the earth is a part of a big. So it's all representing each other, right? But the very nature of who we are comes into fulfillment when we have this idea and when we get clarity on it, and everything changes. But the mission itself becomes one of trials, tribulations, ups, downs, wins, loses, and everything that goes with it. So you need an adamant. You need to protect yourself with some of these rules to be able to make you get to the end. And those rules are self-promises. And I go over them all the time, but they're not based on motivation. They're based on contract. Because, motivation changes almost every day for all people. I've been lucky enough to know some people who are always motivated, but they are very few and far between. Most people are like us, where one day we feel like doing it and the next way we don't, the next day we don't, or we're great on it for a little while and our brain wants to fade off. That's why these soul contracts with ourself are omnipotent. They're the most important part of getting and staying the course. So we picked it from a clear part of ourself, a merged part, and then we made these agreements with ourselves, which I go over with you week to week, but have to do with tithing and a daily practice and a little bit of exercise and an agreement not to quit and this list of things that we agree to, right? Now, a lot of people from the last couple of weeks, not a lot of people, that's not true. A few people said, what about depression? So I really want to talk about this, so that I feel depressed and I can't. So what is depressed, right? Depressed is a form of deep rest, right? I am deep rest. I am resting. And in a resting phase, it's self-fulfilling. So rest leads to more rest, and deep rest leads to more deep rest. And we can get in a circle, and deep rest usually means bad eating habits, a lack of physical exercise. These things self-spiral into depression, because the natural state of your being, of you as a star child, as you have made up from the dust of the universe, as you in this gift of light, your main thing is to create. And when you're in deep rest, you can't create. So these contracts with ourselves get us out of deep rest. And usually something else has to happen. It's an inside job that's influenced by an outside thing. So what does that mean? Well, you can be, a guy who walks the planet for 100 years, 90 years, and one day you see a bird give birth to something, and it reaffirms something that you already know, and that outside action merges something in you that creates a new reaction from you, right? So rhythmia is a great accelerant for having that thing which is dying to become in you happen, and this new light rise you out of deep rest into creativity. Because in creativity, what is there? There's the unknown. That's the spark of life. There's the chance that you're going to fail. And there's going to be wins and losses and ups and downs and new people being met and new connections being made and a new way of living emerging. That is what we get from creation. And once you start away from depression into creation, it's addicting. The feeling of creation is addicting. The life becomes a journey, as opposed to the treachery of depression. And I don't take depression lightly. I don't. And there are a million reasons for depression. There's generally one way out. To get out of deep rest, the opposite of that is to create. So, and it can start slow and it can grow huge. And what happened to you yesterday, the most beautiful thing that I see at Rhythmia is, and I always say that in Amazing Grace, it always says to save a wretch like me. And when I think of those words, I cry. Because the beautiful part is God doesn't care. The universe doesn't care about your yesterday. The only person who's dwelling on it is you. And I hate to say this to you, but there's not a lot of people around you who love you, who care about your yesterday either. They're more concerned about theirs. So the moment, if you understand that there is redemption and that everything can start anew in 1 second, in one new thought, and that in some way, shape, or form, that Rhythmia is a part of that new discovery, then we're doing the right thing. And we've been that for going on 18,000 people. So we want you to have this thing. And not blame your depression on yourself. Because it doesn't matter. The truth of the truth is it doesn't matter whose fault it is. But it's up to you to end it. So it doesn't matter, very few of us have had a life that when analyzed with a particular set of glasses on would not make us depressed. I don't think, I've been here for, I've been in this place for 9 years or 8 years, I think right now. I started this in 2016, 8 years. And I think I've met about 3 people who said they had a perfect life. And then by the time they were done, they realized they didn't. They're done their week here. So all of us, please excuse me, to one degree or another, have an excuse to be depressed. All of us. And part of your life path and is you're on this engineered trail that leads you to something that you hear differently in one moment that changes everything else. So if I'm talking to you and something clicks, then that's to your soul. See, when and I'm not a thought leader. I'm a business guy that had a beautiful thing happen in his life. And has made me a much better person than I was, right? But I'm not a thought leader. I'm not a shaman or a thought leader. I'm just a guy who wants to be. I want to help people, right? So I'm not saying this from a thing that a thought leader, but when I hear a thought leader who says a particular thing that my mind has heard 100 times that I know that I agree with, but haven't yet accepted, it's because my soul wasn't ready to hear it. My soul wasn't ready to hear this particular thing. So when your soul is ready to pop, you will hear this kind of thing, and it will take you here. So that's all I wanted to tell you this week. So you're in charge of your own deep rest, and you're in charge of getting yourself out. And I wanted to leave you with that. God keep you